Planeteers. Welcome to Enthusiastic Encouragement and Dubious Advice, the podcast for folks who would rather curl into the fetal position than lean in. I'm your host, Patricia LZ Tuttle.
And I'm just a happy little plant mom. I'm Nicole LZ Tuttle. We're recording this show on September 14th, 2025.
Reminder up front, this podcast is independently run, and we are hoping to be supported by listeners. Downloading, sharing, giving us reviews and ratings are free ways to show us support. If you have a few bucks to donate, our Patreon memberships start at $3 a month. Even if you don't want to engage with the content there, it's a way to donate regularly to the show. No pressure, there are 3 tiers to choose from.
And if you want to find other ways to show support, you can head on over to our bookshop affiliate link, where any book that we have mentioned on this show can be found on the shelf for the EEDA pod, and any other books that Patricia mentions in the EEDA newsletter or elsewhere can also be found there.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of book recs on TikTok lately.
Yeah.
So those are all on there too. We also finally got the merch shop opened. You can find a link to the shop on our webpage, eatapod.com. And one more thing before we get into it. We want you to email us the self-help books you love or hate at eatapod@gmail.com. We have gotten some amazing emails already. People talking about the self-help books that they either love or hate. We are working on something special for y'all. So please send us those recommendations or those anti-recommendations.
Oh yeah. I love the anti-recommendations. So it's been a little while since we've all had a new episode, because our last one was a replay of a favorite episode. So we've got a lot of catching up to do.
We do.
And one of the things we did is we finally went to a Valkyries game.
Oh my gosh.
The Valkyries are our local basketball team.
Yeah, and they are the first expansion team in this league to make it to the playoffs. You know, we're recording this. They just lost their first playoff game, but they have another one later this week. So by the time you're hearing this, I don't know where we'll be at. But going to the Valkyries game was amazing. It was packed. This team also made a record for like sold out games. There were people from the floor to the ceiling in the stadium, or the Chase Center. It was so much fun, so much queer joy. It was the place to be. It was amazing.
And I absolutely love the culture that they are building around this team.
Absolutely.
It is so great. And the detail with it.
Yeah, when there's like this opening kind of multimedia extravaganza when the lineup is announced, and I absolutely just burst into tears, not only because it's the Bay Area and I'm from here and I love it here, I'm proud to be from here, but also just think about like my mom would have freaking loved this.
Oh, she would have absolutely loved it. Yeah. She'd have had so much fun. Oh, that's the other thing that's been going on. It has been tomato harvest season here. As I called them early in the year, hope tomatoes. I accidentally grew a lot of tomatoes on, 4 plants? We had to go give away probably, 30 tomatoes last weekend?
At least 30. But then we also gave another few to the neighbors. So we may have given away 40 tomatoes so far, not including the ones that we gave to one of my besties as well. Yeah. Like we've just been...
Yeah, that was just last weekend. We've been giving away tomatoes, but like the big main bulk of the harvest came in. There's still some on the plants as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to just be able to do that.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved how it started out with, you're like, I don't know how this is going to go. This is the first time you're ever really growing food. And so just in case you planted 4 plants and 3 of them you raised from seed, and all of them went absolutely wild, dripping with tomatoes.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been so great. And I think the other part of it has been like sharing them with people and learning about how much they're enjoying them.
Yeah, because you don't even like tomatoes.
Not that much. I like them in sauce and things and other things, but I'm not a big fan of just like eating a tomato on some bread or something. If we chop it up and put it in salsa or something, it's great. But a lot of our friends really do just like eating a tomato, and
Absolutely.
you included, but like our friends and stuff have just been loving them.
Yeah, honestly, after we record this show, I might make myself a little tomato sandwich.
Yeah, great. I love it.
One of the other things we did recently that I'm just really excited to share with everyone, because I'm really excited about it, is we have finally ordered reading chairs. Our living room needs a little more seating, and as we will talk about in a bit, making the home more cozy as fall and winter are forthcoming up here in the northern hemisphere. I wanted reading chairs, but we try to be very deliberate about the furniture we get, and we want it to last a long time or maybe have parts that are replaceable, but also really getting something we like. And so there's a little furniture store that I've been wanting to go into for years. And we went in, and right there in the center of everything, I was like, that's it. That's the chair right there. Like, and I sat in it, and it was everything. It had the right kind of mid-century look. And the guy was like, "Oh, do you have color in mind?" I was like, "Yes, orange."
His eyes lit up. He was so excited when you said that.
Yeah, he practically levitated with joy that we ordered chairs in an actual color. And he said that. He's like, "You're ordering chairs in an actual color and not just gray or beige," which, if that's your thing, cool. But we like our home to have as much character as we do. And our couch color is called guacamole. So the orange and green is going to be, as I say, a little bit of that late 60s peas and carrots situation. I love it.
I think the other thing that also is kind of really exciting for us on this is these are not chairs that just get ordered and like shipped or whatever. These chairs are made in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they don't have a long way to go. Like they're made locally, probably even here in the Bay Area, because they use a delivery service that's like a local delivery service as well.
Yeah, and that was really exciting to be able to support a local shop and a local maker and designer. And we don't for everything. Some things we just can't or don't, but when we can, it's nice.
Yeah. And it was a lot less than some of the other big furniture stores.
Actually, yeah, it was surprisingly affordable compared to the chairs we were first looking at,
Yeah.
which were from the same place where we bought our sofa. So
Yeah.
So, right now, we are about 3/4 through the year, and autumn begins in the northern hemisphere where we are on September 22nd. So, it is time for our third goals check in.
Oh boy. I guess it's a good time to reflect on if any of those 2025 goals still fit, if any are complete, if any need to be thrown out, or I guess delegated to Oscar. And also, is there anything new that's popped up that we want to focus on for the rest of the year? I know for us, like I feel like a lot has changed, and we've learned a number of things about ourselves and our goals this year.
Agreed. Let's start with the ones we talked about during our last check-in, which we can leave a link to that episode in the show notes. We have continued to chip away at decluttering. We've gotten rid of lots of books. We've put some clothes on consignment with Poshmark. And we've gotten through more of my mom's boxes of stuff. We are more than halfway through at least what is here. There's still the storage, but from what is here at the house, we are most of the way through it. A friend also came over a couple months ago and helped me take photos of some clothing to sell. And I might try to get some of that posted in time for the holidays.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think, well, but also I think a lot about the whole tariff situation and people being more likely to maybe have to buy things here, because I tried to order a bra from the UK the other day and they wanted to charge me $75 in tariffs and fees.
That would have over doubled the price, right?
Yep. So that's a whole thing. I did actually put an article in a recent newsletter issue about how the tariffs are affecting regular people just like you and me. So I will link that in the show notes too, if you are having a hard time understanding what this means for you.
One of the things that we relearned is that we do much better with an actual deadline. We have a friend coming to town in October, so we've updated our goal of finishing Your Mom's boxes and making the back room where they're currently living a more livable space by that specific date in October.
Yes. Yes. And I hate to admit this, but yes, specific goals and timelines work best for us. Just like we know that we go to Pilates the same day every week. That external accountability really, really helps.
Which reminds me, this is how I've shifted my goal of exercising more in this latter half of the year. I started out trying out the Apple Fitness app. I ended up not sticking with it. Last time we talked about this, I wanted to do more hiking. That didn't really happen either, unfortunately. But with the Pilates class, we've been consistent, and that means that I and we really have been exercising more than we did in the first half of the year.
Yeah, and regularly.
Regularly. That's been the super big thing too.
I've also learned that the more I go through stuff and get rid of stuff, the easier it gets. I'm far less precious about things than I used to be. I'm much more willing to let things go and also just be really honest with myself. Like, am I ever going to use this? But also, am I ever going to actually sell this? Or should we just give it away on the neighborhood, buy nothing? One of my cousins actually does sell things on, Facebook Marketplace, etc. So we have offered some things to her to sell, and then it's, out of our hair.
We talked about in the last episode updating our emergency packs and going to first aid classes. I accidentally surprised Patricia by letting her know that it's really easy to take first aid classes by signing up with your local Red Cross. And that's just where we've left it.
Yeah, there hasn't been much movement on that.
No.
And with crochet, I am partway through one of those Woobles kits, Fred the Dinosaur, and I haven't picked it up. I haven't been making time for it. I still really enjoy it. I'm still absolutely going to finish it. It is in my mind. I haven't forgotten about it. It just hasn't been a priority.
That's fair.
But maybe once we get these new reading chairs, I might give them a spin with my crochet.
At the beginning of the year, we set out to read a Octavia E. Butler series, and we did read the first book together.
Of the Xenogenesis trilogy.
Yes.
So the first book was Dawn.
Yes.
Yes.
And it looks like we may not finish the series this year, but I did just look up the next book and saved it on my TBR in the Libby app.
You know what? I don't know. We still have... There's a big chunk of the year left.
You
and
think
we
so?
listen to them on audio.
Yeah, we could get through them.
I think so.
It just hasn't been a priority
It
lately.
hasn't been a priority. We have some other reading to do, but I think so.
You think we can do it?
I think so. Yeah. I'm I am optimistic
Okay.
in our reading abilities. We had planned on a couple of things. A monthly goals check-in, which we have not been doing as we've talked about. We are doing it about quarterly, and that seems to work for us. And we also one of the things we wanted to do this year was look at the month ahead at the beginning of the month or at the end of the previous month and really look at our calendar for scheduling. We're not quite doing that. We're still using our planner and putting things on the calendar, but we're still mostly looking at things week by week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we need to get kind of back into that, and maybe we will, especially as we're heading into the autumn season, which is usually a big event season for us.
Yes.
So it may kind of, just by force of that, push us back into kind of really taking a little bit of a longer view.
Yeah, and I think it worked when we were doing it. It's not one of those things I'm willing to let go of
Yeah.
yet. It's one of those things I want to get back to.
We also wanted to be more social, especially with hosting guests. We've definitely been more social.
Yes.
We have had some hosting, not as much as we wanted, but I think it's been like counterbalanced with that extra socialness just in general,
Yes.
which has been really good for us.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as I hate to admit that too, like, yes. Yeah. Seeing people is good. One of the other things that was on our list is to level up the podcast. I did open that Shopify shop, and there are other plans in the work. Reminder, we want your self-help book recommendations or anti-recommendations because that has a lot to do with it.
I personally, with the podcast, wanted to get more involved in the Patreon. I have been good about our weekly check-ins for our Patreon visitors over there who follow that, I guess. You're aware of that. I haven't been so good about always checking in and checking the comments and just being interactive on that. Yeah, just hasn't happened.
Work in progress.
It's a work in progress. I still want to do it more.
So for me, aside from my overall reading goal, one of my goals was to read 15 physical books. I have read 13 physical books so far that aren't graphic novels or picture books, like 15 books. And that was also in service to getting books out of the house. We did weed a lot of books. I'm not on track with my overall reading goal. I'm actually quite behind. I DNF'd, which is did not finish, 14 books already this year. Like, I read part of them and I just gave up partway through. Could have been a chapter. Some I might have even gotten halfway through and just, they weren't for me. I also realized because I'm reading more physical books and trying to hit that goal, I'm reading fewer graphic novels and picture books, and I know those will not only get me back on track, but they're also really good for me. They're a bit like a treat in some ways. You know, they make my brain work differently rather than just constant walls of text. And I've also been reading a lot of heavy stuff. If you're feeling emotionally stopped up, grab some picture books from the library. That is my suggestion. And you can even get them electronically with Libby or Hoopla apps and read them on your phone or your tablet or your computer. Sometimes I'm like, I need to have a cry. Let me just read this picture book that will tear me apart. Or sometimes life is too heavy. Let me read a picture book that will lift my spirits. Picture books are magical, and like, we're a child-free home. If you're a listener, you probably know this, but I also like to be able to recommend picture books to our friends and family who have littles.
I was just thinking about one for lifting the spirits was Dude.
Oh, I don't remember the authors of that, but we'll We'll try to find it and link it in the show notes in the bookshop.
It was great. The only word in the book is dude, but it's in all its different forms.
Yeah, it's such a Californian book.
Sometimes it's an exclamation, sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's an affirmation. It's very good. One of my projects this year was to get back on with what I call fancy mail. And if you are one of our listeners who's on our Patreon, you know that last month I was really struggling to get any mail done for a little while. But you would also know that just about 2 weeks ago or so, I finally broke through that and have gotten mail out, and I'm feeling excited to do more.
One of my things that I try, and it's hit or miss, is the no phone after 9 p.m. I really need to not be looking at my phone after 9 p.m. And sometimes I'm pretty good about it. Sometimes I notice I'm like, hey, it's 9:03. Let me turn off my Wi-Fi and my data so that even if I open up Instagram or something, like I'm not actually getting anything new, and then it's like gives me an error or whatever. I could be better.
I occasionally help.
You occasionally help. You're like, hey.
Especially if I'm like already went to go brush my teeth and it's like 10 o'clock and I come back and I see you scrolling and I'm like,
I know you're very kind about it. You're just like, are you looking at your phone right now?
I know it's not something you want to be doing at that time. So
no, it actually makes it really hard for me to sleep. So
yeah. I think in our last goals check-in episode, I mentioned that I wanted to do a closet clean out. And I did at least go through my closet and my drawers and clean. I think I got some stuff out. It wasn't as much as I had hoped for, but the other thing that happened is I rediscovered some clothes that I had just forgotten that I owned at all. It was like I found all these pairs of work pants.
Oh, that's right.
That I just forgot I had, and so hadn't been wearing them. So it was like I got like half a little wardrobe again. It was fun.
So this year I had chosen 3 different words to kind of focus on, and one was connection, and we've talked a bit about that. We've talked about hanging out with people, and for me it's also seeing my cousin and seeing my auntie and reaching out to people, reconnecting with friends when we went to New York back in March, and that's been really good. Another one is creation, and I was doing good. We made pesto from basil we grew, from garlic we grew. I think it's been too busy and too warm for me to cook, but I'm looking back to cooking more, and that is part of the creation for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it cooling off a little so I can make lasagna.
Yeah, we got a new lasagna pan. Very exciting.
Yes. If you've never had lasagna with homemade pasta, it is so good.
Yes. And my third word was reclamation, and this is actually something I'm talking a lot with my therapist about, is how can I integrate music, and not just listening to music, but making music. How can I integrate that back into my life? So that's where I am with those 3 words.
So that's kind of where we're at with the stuff that was on our list that we've been sharing with y'all and talking about. Looking forward, I know there's a couple of things that we've kind of added to things we want to get done by the end of the year. And one of those in particular it's some legal paperwork.
Yeah.
In particular, we, as are many people, are concerned about the loss of what is referred to as marriage equality in the United States. And there is a set of paperwork that you can do that effectively reestablishes a lot of those rights outside of marriage.
Yeah, and if you are a subscriber, even a free subscriber to the EEDA newsletter, then you will have seen my link on this a few weeks ago, a link to this paperwork. I can reshare that link to that newsletter issue in the show notes. And if you happen to miss that, it's also good not only for queer married people, but for single people. There's also end of life stuff that is good just for everyone to have.
Everyone.
If you're married, not queer, not, this is all, like, so much of it is important paperwork.
Yeah.
Looking back at what we were just talking about having a specific timeline, I think we decided, like, next weekend we're gonna look at that. Like, that is the plan, and not a nebulous, like, we should do this sometime, but really putting it on the calendar and
like,
blocking out.
And just being like, we're gonna sit down and take care of this.
Yes. We also talked about the back room where a lot of mom's stuff is, and we did aspirationally buy a rug that we want to put in there. We talked about what we want to decorate it like once all that stuff is out of there and once things get cleaned up a bit. So I'm very excited. And we also want to start our holiday marshmallow making earlier this year. Normally, we start on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and it is just a marshmallow factory in here, and it is wonderful. We love it, and it's exhausting, and I want to start earlier this year. So if people get their marshmallows in early November, that's when they get them. Like, sure, fine.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Another thing we've kind of added to our list is rereading How to Winter, Harness Your Mindset to Thrive on Cold, Dark, or Difficult Days by Carrie Leibovitz, PhD. And not only read the book, but take steps towards what Dr. Leibovitz advises and make a plan for coziness and making the house more comfortable for winter.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking a lot about, I might want a different jacket. I don't, like, she talks a lot about also dressing properly for going out and things like that. And it's like, I have great hoodies, but, like, I don't have, like my old pea coats don't fit me anymore. And it's like, oh, maybe I want like a proper nice coat, and not also like I have a denim jacket here.
But something that really keep you warm if we go out in the cold.
Yes.
Like I got last year.
Like you got last year. Maybe this is the year for me.
Excellent. I know a place.
One of the things I was just talking about cooking, for folks who follow me on my Instagram, they know I used to do Bean Day Sunday and make beans every Sunday. We have just been way too busy. But actually, we are recording this on a Sunday, and I have beans soaking right now. I am getting back to making beans. It also just makes the rest of our week go a lot easier having food.
I'm so excited, y'all. Another thing that's come up is, summer's starting to wind down. We are weeks away from the official start of autumn. And I want to work on preserving more of the herbs we've grown over the summer to use throughout winter. We've grown a lot of sage. There's thyme, there's rosemary. I've got a bunch of mint. Right, we've got a lot of herbs that we've grown, and we haven't used all of them, and I'd hate to just let them die out there, basically, without being useful.
Yeah.
So I want to find ways to cut them, dry them, preserve them in some way. Maybe that means chopping them up and putting them in little ice cubes for use later.
Oh, that too.
Making extracts, all different kinds of things, so that we can have them throughout winter, especially when you're more likely to make soups and stews and things like that, and we can add these fresh herbs in that we grew instead of having to go to the store and buy like, you know, three sprigs of rosemary or something.
For like $7.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild. One of the things I want to do, which I already tried with one thing, is start selling things online. Like I said, I have a lot of clothes that I want to sell online. They are clothes that are they were a bit expensive. They are ones that I don't just want to give away, and I want to sell those, and also focusing on buying fewer things, which I have gotten better at. So, also focusing a lot on that.
I can definitely help with that. And I'm on board with buying fewer things, unless it's clothes.
For you.
For me.
For you. That's fine. And a jacket for me, as we
established. Patricia. Yeah, that way I can forget about the clothes I already own and rediscover them next year and get excited all over again.
Oh my gosh. One of the many features of ADHD. Constant surprises.
At the things you already own.
And the other thing I have on here is making more TikToks and Instagram reels and being better about writing down my ideas, just in general, not only for internet content, but for podcast content and for writing content. I think of all these things and I am not good at writing them down, but I have actually been making a lot of TikToks lately. People are doing this thing called a personal curriculum. Like, adults are basically taking themselves back to school, picking a subject and making a schedule and using either the month or like the semester to study this thing. So I've been making TikToks that are book recommendations for different subjects. And I'm actually having a lot of fun. And some people are like, oh, thank you for the recommendation. So I like the positive feedback as well.
It's been fun to watch them and see what books you pick out. Well, that's kind of our goals check-in. Patricia, what do you want people to take away from this?
You know, it's the reminder that we give each time we do this is that you can review and change your goals at any time. Don't let January you hold you back from being whatever you want to be right now.
I really like that.
Nicole, what do you want people to take away?
I don't know if I said anything kind of explicit to this, but just because this year didn't turn out to be the right time for something on your goals list doesn't mean there won't ever be a right time for that thing.
Yeah. I still want to get back to archery. I still want to take piano lessons, but maybe this just wasn't the year.
Yeah, I feel the same way about like photography and camera stuff.
Yeah.
I still really want to do it. Turns out this year wasn't the year for it so far. Who knows, maybe that'll change in the next couple of months, but it's not high on my priority list. Well, it's been a couple weeks since we had this show. What's been filling your cup lately?
You know, I'm still riding high from the Valkyries game. That was so much fun. And I look forward to next year. Also going with more people, like trying to get a group together.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
Also filling my cup is our reading chairs. You know, they did say they will be 12 weeks to build. So we should get them at the beginning of November, if not earlier. Who knows? But I'm really excited for the reading chairs. And I'm also just excited to have a plan, like when we're doing the paperwork, knowing when we want to have the back room finished by. Like, that is all very soothing to me. And it helps me feel like this stuff is doable. How about you, Nicole? What's filling your cup?
I think it was this probably a week or two now ago where you asked me to make dinner. And I kind of looked around our kitchen and I ended up whipping up like a brown butter and sage gnocchi for you the other night, specifically using fresh sage from our garden. And it was surprisingly fast and easy and also rather tasty.
It was delicious. I was delighted. I tend to do a lot of the cooking, especially if it comes to like pasta or gnocchi. And I remember I was working late that night. Like I was doing a lot of writing, or maybe it was even day job stuff. I can't even remember. But yeah, it was amazing. It was delicious.
It was so good. And I love that it was just something like I could just pop out the front door and like grab a bundle of, cooking sage and throw it in some butter, and there you go. We have a delicious, delicious dinner.
Well, that's our show for today.
You can find the full show notes and transcript of this show at eatapod.com. That's EEDAPOD.com. There you can also find a link to our Patreon, our bookshop link, and a link to the ongoing Enthusiastic Encouragement and Dubious Advice newsletter. You can also find us on Instagram and Blue Sky at Eatapod, and email us at eatapod@gmail.com.
We are nothing if not consistent.
We would also appreciate it so much if you would subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts that allow ratings. It really goes far in helping other people find us. If you would like to leave us a comment, you can do so at any of the places I just named, or you can email us. Let us know how we're doing.
We would also appreciate anyone who can subscribe to us on Patreon. Support is going to help us keep this show going, especially without ads. You can find us at patreon.com/eatapod. In the meantime, we hope you find ways to be kind to yourself. Drink some water and read a book. We'll be talking to you soon. Tomato sandwich time.
Ooh.